If Eric Clapton ever wanted to influence anyone, it wasn't to change the world. It was to show people what had shaped him. But behind the image of Slowhand, the calm, soulful bluesman who inspired generations, there was a darker side, a man full of rivalries, jealousy, and grudges that defined some of rock's most explosive stories. Today on Legend Uncovered, we're diving into the feuds, betrayals, and rivalries that shaped the life of Eric Clapton, the man they once called God. From bitter bandmates to unexpected enemies, here are the top 10 musicians Eric Clapton allegedly hated the most. Let's get into it. 10. Ginger Baker. Starting off our list is none other than Ginger Baker, Clapton's fiery bandmate in Cream. Their chemistry on stage was electric, but off stage, it was pure chaos. According to insiders, Clapton and Baker had one of the most toxic relationships in rock history. The two could barely stand to be in the same room. Arguments erupted constantly during rehearsals and recording sessions. Daltrey once recalled, "They were fighting from day one." Sources say Baker's violent temper clashed with Clapton's ego, creating constant tension. Clapton once called Ginger a brilliant drummer with the worst personality imaginable. By their final tour, the two were reportedly shouting at each other before almost every show, and even came to blows on several occasions. Clapton later admitted that working with Baker was one of the worst experiences of his career. He refused multiple Cream reunion offers simply because he couldn't face being in a band with him again. 9. Jack Bruce. At number 9 comes another Cream bandmate, Jack Bruce. Behind the music, things were just as messy. Insiders claim Clapton resented Jack for dominating Cream's songwriting and taking much of the creative spotlight. Eric allegedly hated how Bruce's voice and bass lines became the band's signature sound. He supposedly told friends that Jack's jazzy, complex songs were pretentious nonsense that alienated real blues fans. After Cream split, Clapton blamed Bruce for the breakup, saying his ego had destroyed the greatest power trio in history. The bitterness between them lasted for decades, long after the band's final bow. 8. Pete Townshend coming in at number 8. Pete Townshend of The Who. Sources claim Clapton couldn't stand Pete's explosive, aggressive guitar style. He reportedly viewed Townshend as a showman, smashing guitars because he lacked real technical ability. Back in the 1960s, Clapton was known as the blues purist, while Pete was the theatrical rebel. The rivalry brewed as The Who skyrocketed in fame. Clapton allegedly mocked Pete's windmill technique, calling it loud power chords for people who don't understand real guitar skill. Witnesses even recall Eric sneering at The Who's rock operas, calling them pretentious concept nonsense. Their rivalry became legendary. Two titans of British rock with completely opposite ideas about what guitar music should be. 7. George Harrison. Number 7 brings a complicated name, George Harrison of the Beatles. On the surface, George and Eric were friends, but jealousy ran deep. Sources claim Clapton was secretly envious of George's fame and status as a Beatle. He allegedly believed George's reputation came more from his band than his playing ability. Eric supposedly told close friends that George was a good rhythm player, but an average soloist. But the rivalry turned deeply personal with the now famous Pattie Boyd love triangle. Eric fell in love with George's wife and wrote Layla about her. His obsession grew so intense that he eventually stole her from his best. Friend insiders say Eric's actions were fueled as much by jealousy of George's life as by love for Pattie. The betrayal shattered their friendship for years. 6. Phil Collins at number 6. We have Phil Collins. In the 1980s, as Collins rose from drummer to global pop superstar, sources claim Clapton was disgusted. He allegedly thought Phil's success represented the downfall of real music, calling his songs soulless, synthetic garbage made for housewives. Clapton couldn't stand Collins's polished pop sound and drum machines. Witnesses remember him mocking Phil's production style at charity events and music ceremonies. One producer recalled Clapton saying, "If that's the future of music, I'm done." Their relationship never recovered. 5. Mark Knopfler. Number 5. Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits. While both were celebrated guitarists, insiders say Clapton was deeply jealous of Knopfler's fingerstyle technique and massive success. When Dire Straits dominated the charts in the 1980s, Clapton reportedly dismissed Knopfler's style as a gimmick. He claimed Mark's playing lacked the raw soul of blues guitar. Witnesses recall Clapton's irritation whenever journalists compared the two. Some even said he refused to acknowledge Knopfler's influence altogether. The rivalry divided fans, blues purists versus modern stylists, with Clapton quietly simmering on the losing side. 4. Stevie Ray Vaughan. At number 4, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Texas blues prodigy who reignited the genre in the 1980s. When Stevie burst onto the scene, critics hailed him as the new guitar god. That title infuriated Clapton. Sources say he was furious that people viewed Vaughan as his successor. He reportedly called Stevie's sound loud Hendrix imitations without real emotion. Clapton even attended Vaughan's shows, only to leave unimpressed and critical. Insiders claim he said, "He's just showing off for fans who don't know real blues." The truth? Clapton couldn't handle that Stevie Ray Vaughan was becoming everything he once was: young, innovative, and adored. 3. Prince. Number 3. Prince, a man who could outplay, outsing, and outshine almost anyone on stage. Sources claim Clapton couldn't stand Prince's flamboyant style and musical versatility. He reportedly viewed Prince as a pop star pretending to be a guitarist. When Prince began appearing on greatest guitarists lists above him, Eric was furious. He allegedly refused interviews with magazines that praised Prince's guitar skills. Clapton reportedly told friends, "He's not a master of guitar, just a flashy performer for MTV." But history disagrees. Prince's legendary solo at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame remains one of the most iconic guitar moments ever. 2. Jimi Hendrix. At number 2. Jimi Hendrix, perhaps the most famous rivalry in guitar history. When Hendrix arrived in London in 1966, Clapton's world changed forever. After watching Jimmy's first performance, he was reportedly so shaken that he left the venue in silence. Insiders say Clapton called Hendrix's playing sloppy noise. But behind closed doors, he knew Hendrix had revolutionized guitar forever. Friends remember Eric's jealousy eating away at him. Every interview, every article, always the same question: who's better, you or Hendrix? Clapton once confessed privately. "He destroyed me. I could never catch up." 1. Pattie Boyd. Finally, at number 1, not a musician, but the woman who caused one of rock's most famous love triangles, Pattie Boyd. Eric's obsession with Pattie, then wife of George Harrison, consumed him. He wrote Layla as a desperate cry for her love, while still pretending to be George's friend. When Pattie finally left George for Eric, the scandal shocked the entire music world. But the fairy tale didn't last. Their relationship soon fell apart under the weight of addiction, guilt, and regret. Insiders say Clapton's obsession wasn't just about love. It was about winning, about proving himself better than George. And that jealousy destroyed one of rock's greatest friendships forever.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.